Hey guys, welcome back to Waxing On Friday, and I promised you something different. And today is another album by actor turned musician. Now we've done a few of these. If you remember back, Jack Webb, the original Joe Friday on Dragnet, he did an album where he basically just recited the lines and an orchestra played the tune behind him. Now, William Shatner picked up that same idea and did a couple albums himself with him doing his lines in his Shatner-esque style and band playing behind him. We also looked at people like Jim Belushi. I mean, excellent albums he put out. Two with Dan Aykroyd, one he did with the Blues Brothers, who he was playing Brother Z, replacing his brother John, and a couple of albums with his own band, the Sacred Hearts. And he really transitioned well. He had really put out some excellent work. There's been other albums as well. I mean, Scarlett Johansson put out one that wasn't received quite so well. Zooey Deschanel has put out a couple of albums under the band She and Him. And they seem to be doing well. They're actually out on tour here now. There's another one that I really enjoyed, and I think we'll touch on maybe in another couple of weeks. I only have a digital download, was Russell Crowe had an excellent album with his band. So it's not unusual. Bruce Willis started that one too. We did The Return of Bruno. We profiled Bruce Willis a few months ago. So it's not unusual to have a musician try, or I guess an actor try and break into the music world. So today we've got Billy Bob Thornton. This is Billy Bob's first release, 2001, Private Radio. I'm not sure who did the artwork. I'm assuming that's Billy Bob on the front. And he toured behind this as well. Surprisingly, I actually took some lyrics from this, typed them out, sent them off to a gig he was doing in Toronto. Say it with me, the center of the entertainment universe, Toronto. And he actually signed them, sent them back. It was really great. But this one, I don't know what you classify it as. He's got Marty Stewart working with him, so you're going to think it's probably country, right? But a lot of tunes written by either Billy Bob and somebody else. Give you some idea who's playing on here. We got obviously Marty Stewart, but we got Billy Bob on lead vocals and drums, Marty Stewart guitar and mandolin, Brad Davis on guitar, Greg Stockey on drums and percussion, Steve Arnold on bass, Barry Beckett on the organ, Randy Scruggs guitar and bass, Jim Cox piano, Don Helms steel guitar, Hank Singer fiddle, Larry Paxton bass, and background vocals included Dennis LeCourrier, Marty Stewart, Billy Bob, and Brad Davis. And there was a duet on here with Holly Lamar. So yeah, pretty much country influence, but a very different style of country. Now, the album had a number of tunes. Some of them Billy Bob had written a little comment about the songs above it. And I'll just go through the album here. Songs he did were Dark and Mad, that was written by Billy Bob and Marty Stewart. Forever by Billy Bob and Marty Stewart. Angelina. Here's Billy Bob's comments. The story of how I met the love of my life. Without her, I wouldn't exist. How times have changed, right? Anyways, that was written by Billy Bob and Randy Scruggs. Starlight Lounge, Billy Bob and Dwight Yoakam, Holly Lamar. So Dwight Yoakam made an appearance in here. He wasn't on the original list, but just guesting as well, or writing the tunes. Walk of Shame, Billy Bob, Marty Stewart. Smoking in Bed, Billy Bob and Marty Stewart. And his comments on this one, so many of my friends and neighbors back in the day. And he says here, have you ever stood in the middle of an Arkansas cotton field in the scorching summer heat, spit in the dirt and counted how many seconds it took to disappear into the ground? There aren't many people hanging around the streets of Beverly Hills that understand what that's all about, but Billy Bob gets it. Billy Bob getting back to his roots here. We got Your Blue Tomorrow, or Your Blue Shadow, sorry. Billy Bob and Marty Stewart. Billy Bob and Marty Stewart doing That Mountain. We've got He Was a Friend of Mine. Billy Bob. No, that was actually written by Roger McGuinn from the Byrds. And he says, I love the Byrds. I didn't love the fact that our last election was run by lawyers. No matter who won or lost, politics can be dangerous. So that's giving you some sight into what this song is going to be about. Private Radio, Billy Bob and Marty Stewart again. So Marty Stewart really figures heavy into what persona and the style of music that Billy Bob was covering. Beauty at My Back Door is Billy Bob and Marty Stewart, and Lost Highway, written by Leon Payne. Now, this was Billy Bob's first release. I'll show you the back cover there too. He actually did a second album. And again, this one's called Edge of the World. To me, I didn't find it quite as entertaining. I mean, the first one was unique. I mean, it was fun. It was quirky. It was Billy Bob. I mean, wasn't it nice to have something from him just to get an idea what he's doing? So some of the songs worked. Some of them didn't work quite as well. Some of them were really, really, really nice. I found on the second album I really couldn't get into the tunes. A couple of times it sounded to me like Billy Bob was trying to channel a Frank Zappa vocal on top of what he was doing. And if you listen to the album, you'll know what I mean as soon as you hear it. I think, as far as I know, these are the only two he put out. There could have been more. They're obviously the only two that I picked up. I don't know about streaming networks. If they're out there, yeah, check them out. Even though I say, this was more of my favorite Private Radio, you may enjoy this Edge of the World. That's the beauty about streaming networks. It's all available to you. It doesn't cost you anything to check them out. But two albums by a very quirky, unique actor. He was out touring behind this one. I haven't heard too much about him being on the road since then, and I haven't heard about other releases. But these are the two I have in my collection. I don't know if any of you have seen them before, heard them before, or even had a chance to be aware or check it out that Billy Bob was playing. So, something to look at over the weekend. Might be a little bit of fun. Might be maybe something that's right up your alley. Streaming networks, I'm assuming hard copies are still available, and it's a very unique look at a performer we're all familiar with. So that's it for another week of Waxing On. Everybody have a great weekend. Take care, stay safe. We'll see you on Monday.